feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together, this is big thanks. Doing big things, we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general, from the front I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Shrimp Tank Podcast, where we get to interview the best and brightest entrepreneurs in South Florida, powered by Celsius Beverage. And of course, this is ran in collaboration with the Florida Atlantic University, their Adams Center for Entrepreneurship. I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Roland Kedwell. What is happening right now? There's a lot of momentum in South Florida. We got Emerge Americas. I'm driving right down there later this afternoon, where 20,000 people are expected in town. What is new?
That's incredible. And that's where Kevin went. He took a early train down there. I think he drove probably. But
because nobody wants to hit that Miami traffic anymore.
It's a great conference. They've got people from all over the world coming in to talk about tech, to talk about entrepreneurship. And, you know, Miami is a place to be. I'm trying to convince people of that who aren't from around here, don't know, but it's becoming the big tech mecca in the U.S. and maybe even the world. A lot of people coming up from South America, a lot of people gravitating down there from other parts of the country. It's a great place to be. And
we've been saying it for years. You got airports, you get pretty much anywhere in the United States or the world from South Florida. Low taxes, of course, and great for business just in general. Of course.
And you got Pitbull.
Yeah, we got Mr. 305 joining Emerge. Let's jump into our guest today. We got Marc Sherman joining us here at the Shrimp Tank. And everybody watching, you see he's got an FAU shirt on because he's an alumni and pretty recent. So this is going to be a great episode because we're going to hear from Max how he got on the 30 under 30 list and how he's running Ballz for Change. He's the CEO and he is growing. So if any of the FAU students here want an internship, you know, you better come over to Max at the end of the show and ask him if there's any opportunities or a career opportunity, because he is expanding quite rapidly. And it is a great opportunity to, of course, pick his brain after today's show. So Max, do us the honors. Give us your 60-second pitch. So often people try to explain their business and they go on for 7-8 minutes. And we try to always tell all the FAU students that you got to be precise. So that way, within 60 seconds, they know exactly what your business does. So go for it.
Yeah, it's super simple, guys. So we have a golf ball recovery business with another side of the business, which is a e-commerce business where we sell the balls. We have contracts with golf courses. Divers go in, dive the golf balls, bring it back to our facility. We process them. We sell them. That's it.
Roland, that was spot on. He must have been.
Oh, he must have
taken
20
class.
Seconds.
Was he part of your class in the past? He did quite well there.
I don't think so. I don't think I could have been that good.
How do you rate that?
That's in the top. Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
If you were part of Roland's class, he would give you an A+ for that pitch.
Yeah, but then you have to tell us why. Where did this come from? Where did this idea come from?
Yeah, so I grew up playing golf my whole life. I played college golf here at FAU. Loved my time here. Learned a lot at the school in business. And when I graduated, it was around COVID time. My business partner now and I were driving back in a car, and he started telling me a story about when he was younger. He used to go pick golf balls from a golf course. And I looked at him and I said, stop. I said, you actually have a business there. And he said, what do you mean? I said, this is bigger than just going to pick golf balls out of a lake and go sell them at a flea market. So I went back that night and I did tons of market research, stayed up till probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just trying to learn about this industry. What I figured out was this industry that we're about to enter into is extremely unstructured. There's no market metrics. There's nothing to help point us in the right direction. So what do we have to do? We kind of have to go figure it out ourselves. We set appointments with the GM of our golf club that we belong to, and we started picking his brain. How do your current guys do it? What don't you like about what the current guys do? What do they pay you? What do they do this? Together, we then formulated a business model that we thought is better than what the current people are doing. And we ran with it. We went to a bunch of golf courses, got contracts right off the bat to go dive the lakes for the golf balls. The issue was when we got the contracts, we had absolutely no idea what to do because we didn't actually have any divers. We didn't actually have anything. So that's when the business actually started, was when we looked at each other and we said, oh crap, we have a business. We have people signing up. but now we actually have to make a business.
So what was the problem with the original structure, right? Most golf courses know that the balls go in the lake all the time, right? And these balls are quite expensive, right? It's quite obvious. What were they doing in the past, and how did you figure out there was enough profit margin to create this business, right? Because you don't want to just start this business, find out, wait a second, there's this huge company doing $1 billion of revenue that has, you know, years and years of experience, of course.
Yeah, so there's a very large company that we went head to head with, and in the South Florida area, this is like the golf mecca. We took a couple of their really big contracts right off the bat, and we had one of their reps show up at our door at our office and say, "Hey, let's go to lunch." Started talking to us, started trying to, you know, bully us out of the industry, and we looked at him and we're like, "Oh, we're not going anywhere now. We're like, now we're going to play." What they do, what the current companies do, is they just send a diver in, they dive, they have no regard for the golfers on the golf course, no proper etiquette, just they do everything wrong. They don't treat this like it's a service. And we put the golf course first. If the golf course has tournaments going on, if they have a lot of heavy play, like, we won't send people out to go dive. Another thing that we put into our business was a charity aspect, charity component. And we partnered with the South Florida PGA right off the bat to give back to their foundations. We work with Testicular Cancer Foundation, Play for Pink, which is women breast cancer, Wounded Warriors, and we write checks to all those companies every single year, or all those organizations and foundations every single year. When we brought our idea to the larger companies, they didn't like that. And we looked at them and we're like, why? Like, let's give back to charities that work with golf, because if golf is giving us this, the least we can do is give back. And that's when we knew we have a business here. We have a model that's different than everybody else's, and we can succeed.
So that's your differentiation, is engagement in charities, philanthropy, but also courtesy, you said, or trying to plan around the golf course and not be kind of like showing up in the middle of a busy time.
Exactly.
So when is it not a busy time? When do you go to these golf courses? And also tell me, what percentage of balls being used are used out of recovered that way?
Yeah. So
do you have any idea?
I have no idea. Like I said, there's no metrics on this. You can drive yourself crazy just going in a dark hole looking for data to help you, justify your numbers on, when's busy season for us, when's slow season. But to your first question, with the golf courses, it's simple. We have dives going on right now. And the first thing that my partner and I do is we reach out to the golf courses. Hey, we're going to be in town during these dates. Do these work for you? A simple thing like that. Mm-hmm. The current companies that are our competitors, they literally just show up. They're like, we have a contract, we have a right to go through the gate. And it doesn't work like that. And if you just show a little bit of respect to these people and the people working at the golf courses, they will give the world to you. How
did you get the partnership with South Florida PGA? How did that happen? And then how has that impacted your business?
Sure. So I played golf inside the South Florida PGA organization growing up. That was one of the many junior tours that I played on. They always had great events. Something that I always did at the end of every golf tournament was, take my hat off, go up to the directors and shake their hands and say thank you. I've always been, trained to be polite, please, thank you, yes, no, yes, sir, no, ma'am, stuff like that. And I reached out to a woman named Meredith, and she is the head of the South Florida PGA, the partners there. And she remembered me. She remembered all my friends growing up. And I used a contact that I made when I was 14, 15 years old. And that just took off. Then she puts all of our paperwork in front of the 400 golf courses that are inside of the South Florida PGA organization. And just by doing the little things, when somebody says you never know when something can, come back to help you or haunt you, maybe if I had my shirt untucked and I didn't shake the hands and I was, a little bit, sloppy or messy, maybe the conversation would have been different. But because I did just those little things, the 1% of things right, it came back to help us.
So important.
Huge. Yeah.
So important.
Well, I'm going to ask each of you a question. I'm going to start with Roland first, and then I want to see how Max answers it. So Roland, he brought up something important that I think all the FAU students would love to get the answer from. Like, he brought up that there was a big competitor out there, and so often we see pitch decks go to investors and say, unfortunately, LinkedIn exists or Instagram exists. Like, it's too competitive a space. It's already being done, right? He looked at that as, no, this is exactly why I have to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This competition isn't doing it the correct way. So from your standpoint, when that comes up, when there is competition in the marketplace already, how do you kind of see these other businesses that haven't changed in years, but have a strong position in the market? An example would be LinkedIn, right? They haven't changed in years and years. And I have an app called Owl, right? That people say is LinkedIn on steroids as an example. But LinkedIn hasn't changed in 10, 15 years, and they dominate that space in the networking sphere or career space as an example. So how do you speak to that, to all the students in the room?
I think to figure out what they're not doing, what these competitors are not doing, what the niche is, what differentiates your business, what can differentiate your business from another business. The nice thing about this is knowing there's a market. And if you can take a piece of that market using the kinds of skills that Max has already mentioned here in terms of, I guess, impression management is one thing that he did pretty well with coming up, knowing now is a good time to make these kinds of contacts because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But the competitors in the market tell you there is a market there. And if you can figure out the niche to go in and what are they not doing that you can do better, that you feel like you can do better, that kind of gets at what you're asking, I think.
Yeah, it does. Max, what do you think about the subject?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think it all depends. Is there a market? And if you can identify your market and identify your targets, then go for it. There's a product I saw last Tuesday, and I called my sister and I said, hey, my sister's a fashion designer. So I called her and I said, hey, there's a product that I keep seeing online over and over and over again. How do we break into this market? She goes, well, there's already companies that do that. I'm like, Alex, there is a big miss here from the marketing perspective, from marketing to what their websites look like, to everything. If we can make a product that is better than theirs and we can market it properly and get more eyes on it and get the customers in the door, then we get customers for life. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you're right.
So how does that flow into what kind of marketing strategies you used to build out the company?
So our other side of the business is we do have to sell the golf balls. So we have an e-com website where we have to sell the golf balls. We are big on TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. And I think that's where my youth, I say youth, I just turned 26. So like,
well, you're youth, you've got youth. Yes.
So that's where, our team really came together, and our marketing firm that we use, that we currently use, they do a really good job. We have meetings 2 times a week. I have meetings dedicated strictly to just going over TikTok strategy, meta strategy, how to film videos properly, what users want. When we get a video that pops off for 2 million views, like, what do we need to do, better so we can get 5 million views? And we have a good TikTok following. We own a bunch of different TikTok accounts. We have one with like 400,000 followers, one with 35,000, 20,000, and we have a bunch of Instagram accounts.
So social media is key. So do you outsource the marketing, did you say?
Yeah, they're outsourced.
Okay.
There's a time where you bring it in-house, but we still spend, upper 6 figures just on agency cost alone. And that's not even ad spend. Ad spend, we're in the 7 figures for ad spend now. Our business is going to, knock on wood, it's going to double from last year to this year, if not triple. So that means ad spend gets more expensive, but that means overhead's going to get more expensive, and you got to start really, really, really paying attention to your numbers.
Let's dive into the logistics though, because it's one thing to like, okay, we get the golf balls, right? Now we got to sell the golf balls, all your marketing and sales team's doing, but now these golf balls got to get to Roland's house, right? He wants to play golf next week, and he wants those delivered tomorrow because that's what Amazon promises, right? Why is he buying them from you if you can get them to him quite quickly? So explain the logistics, because that could be a nightmare we've seen from other brands.
That's our biggest nightmare, I would say. And that's what I have to deal with a lot, is the claims, the logistics, making sure all the packages are getting out. I mean, we can come in on a Monday, you got 1,200 orders that have to get out by 4:00 that day. And everybody, the whole warehouse is scrambling to get the orders in. And let's just pretend that, John grabs the wrong product and he puts it in this box. And then, I have a customer complaining and they need balls now. And then I have to eat the cost on that to make sure John's happy, because I can't tell John to go screw himself because John could be a long-term customer of mine. So I have to make sure he's
Can
happy.
we even break it down a little bit? So you get these golf balls, like where do they go? In a bin, cleaning them? And then how do they go like sorting? And then how do they get like different boxes? Because you got all these different balls, right? There's complexity.
700.
And if I want to order my specific type of ball, like how many did you bring out of the lakes that week, right? So I could sense this is not that simple. And you're doing this all in-house. You're not outsourcing your logistics. So you had to learn how to print a label, right? As simple as that. And then the right boxes. And I'm sure you've had a nightmare being like, we ordered the bad boxes. This isn't the right fit. And you've changed over time.
Yeah. So we have 750 SKUs, I want to say, which is fun. I get told every day by our partners, hey, we need to lower our SKUs. And I tell them we can't lower our SKUs. I already came down from 1,100 to 750. So I can't do much more than that. But the balls come in on these pallets. We take them into the cleaning area where they get sanitized, all the algae and all that. You know, we let them soak, they sanitize. So, you know, anything that's dirty on them gets taken off. Then they go through a whole cleaning process. They go through these big cleaners. Then they get moved up to the front of the warehouse where they then go through the first sort, where they're getting sorted out by the brand. Is it a Titleist, a TaylorMade, a Callaway? Then you have to take it another step. You got to take those Titleist balls, and there's a little side stamp, it's called, on the side of the ball. Pro V1, Pro V1X, this, that. Then it has to go to another step. Then it has to go to grading, packaging, warehouse. So it's getting touched, I don't know, 7 times before. And there's automation that we're currently investing in. But it doesn't happen overnight. You invest in an automation sorting machine thing, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Here's a deposit for it. They're like, okay, cool. 18 months, we'll have it for you.
And can you outsource this side of the process to anyone yet, or it's just too complicated because the amount of SKUs? Like we've had big brands like Shipmonk come and join us, and we had single swags like that was doing something similar, and then they eventually outsourced to them as an example. But there's just too many SKUs. There's too many
SKUs. I had to actually talk to Shipmonk. I've talked to ShipBob. I've talked to 20 different carriers and pack and pickers, and it doesn't work. It gets too expensive. It becomes 2 times or 3 times more than our actual warehouse cost to place these products in fulfillment.
And what's the actual discount to the end consumer, right? Because there needs to be enough margin after all this is said and done, where I don't want to go to Amazon, which I absolutely love, and see there's enough of a discount. I can say it's worth buying them through your site and getting, that similar experience that everyone's so used to.
So new product, a box of Pro Vs are anywhere from $60 to $65. We sell them for about anywhere from $28 to $32. So it's about 50% off brand new retail. So if you're going golfing and you're playing a lot, it ends up covering almost the cost of your round.
So tell us a little bit. I think one of the things you've kind of, in talking and describing the business, sounds to me like you've used a lot of things that we talk about in entrepreneurship class and new venture launchpad, all the different areas and sectors to look at. What is something that you wish you had learned at Florida Atlantic that you didn't get a chance to learn, that you've learned the hard way?
So I paid really close attention my senior year in my entrepreneurship classes. And that's where the brainstorming really started kicking in. And a lot of the exercises of the feasibility analysis and SWOT analysis and all these different ones, they're really helpful when setting the foundation of your business. What gets really hard is, I have a business. How do I raise money for the business? I have a business. What do I do when my employees don't show up for work and there's orders to go out, and I'm in Georgia networking for more golf courses, and now I'm in a predicament where my orders aren't going out and I'm getting customer complaints. I think there's a lot of more business scenarios that you just can't experience in a classroom until you get your hands dirty. But I think I know the business school here did a really good job setting me up to be prepared for my business, to understand my business, to learn my business. But there's just things that you can't learn unless you get your hands dirty.
Let's talk about failures then, right? You're only 26 years old, and you've done a lot of different things through the last 5 years that have, of course, been, money pits, I'm assuming, right? And you're very profitable today, but like, tell us some of the failures so everyone in the audience that's listening today could really see like what you're speaking about. Those long nights, staying up till 4 a.m. because you gotta get shipments out, taking flights home early, not going out drinking at the bar, having to cancel on a girl, right? That you were so excited to go on a date with, I'm sure, but you're like, the business comes first because the customer is going to leave me a negative review. Can you just talk to just a couple failures?
Yeah. So I think the hardest thing for me over the last couple of years is kind of like not losing my friends, but kind of staying not as close with my friends. And they understand that I'm in grind mode all day long and I have to be. My business is my baby. I love my family. I love all my friends and everything. But if the business fails, my employees don't have income. They can't feed their kids. If they can't work, that makes me feel like crap. So I have to make sure they always have business. And it's just stressful. I mean, I had like a mini panic attack like 2 weeks ago about this. Yeah. And I went to one of our partners. I was talking to my dad, who's also an entrepreneur. And I'm like, Dad, man, I don't know what to do. Like, can somebody just buy me out of my equity and write me a nice check and I can just be done with this thing and start my next thing? And he's like, no, this is where you as a entrepreneur and a business person, you have to look at this as like almost sports. Like if you're playing basketball, and for me, golf, it's, you're down by 1 on the 18th hole. Do you just like say, all right, withdrawal, I'm done? Like, you're only down by 1 shot, like go take the hole head on and go win the hole. And the last week, I think I've really looked at my whole business as a whole different, perspective, but it's challenging, especially being young. I'm missing out on a lot of things that I have friends, a lot of friends that go on a lot of trips, a lot of golf trips, a lot of, my friends go out every weekend that I have to turn down because I can't go out late, because if I go out late and if I'm hungover on a Saturday, I still have to be at the office. And, you got to be focused, and there's times to have fun. Like, you can have a lot of fun, especially if you're successful. It gets really fun. Your trips become better, more trips to the Bahamas, it's a good time, but it's stressful. I mean,
being on the golf team, didn't that give you a sense of discipline and how you, has that helped?
Yeah, I would say sports in general, whether it was football, golf, basketball, being able to just have a structure. I remember my freshman year here, it was like, waking up at 4:30 in the morning for 5 a.m. workouts, practice from, I'm at the golf course from 11:30 to 7. Then you have to go over to the athletic building for study hall, and you're just go, and it's a structured, thing. Then there's time for fun, but you only get to the fun part if you do all the structured things correctly and you're present and you're giving 100% of your effort. And if I don't give 100% of my effort to my employees on a day-to-day basis, then I'm failing my company. And
that's well put.
Yeah.
Because lots of times your employees come and show up every day for work, and they have their own families to take care of. And if you cheat the system by going out drinking, and then the next day you're not there for them, then you're putting them in risk, in a nutshell. So people come over to me all the time, like, why don't you drink? Why aren't you doing this or that? I'm like, because then I feel like crap the next day, and then I'm not 100%. I'm at 60-70%. And the older you get, it takes longer and longer to feel good, when you even have just 1 or 2 drinks.
Well, you're not kidding, Jason. You know about that.
Well,
you're not kidding. It gets rougher when you get older. That's for sure. I'm going to ask you a question. That Forbes 30 under 30. Tell us about that. What's that all about? How did you get on it? Were you surprised? Walk us through that.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. I've had a couple friends have some successful businesses, startups, and I saw this Forbes thing and I was looking at it and I was like, damn, it'd be really like, that is something that I want to accomplish. Like that, my days of playing sports are done. Like, I need to get something that's going to, get my adrenaline back up and what's going to get me more motivated. Then I look at all these like business awards and I look at all these people getting named, all these athletes getting named to like the 30 list and all these really, really, really successful business people. So randomly we got an email, my partner and I, that was like, hey, we see you on social media. If your numbers are something like this, we'd love to talk, chat with them, have an introduction meeting, talk about our couple revenue numbers, year 1, year 2, how much did you raise, this and that, and went through probably 3-4 rounds of like interviews and submitting stuff. And I woke up one day to a text from my partner with a screenshot, and he's like, oh, we got 30 under 30. I was like, cool. Okay. Now what else can we get? When I'm like, awesome. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I care, my partner cares, but at the end of the day, like,
oh, FAU cares.
Yeah, it's
college business cares. That's a big deal.
It's cool. The networks it's open though. From a young entrepreneur, you're looked at differently. I feel people, you go from being young with a cool business to being young with a real business, and now your opinion actually matters. And that's where I was like, okay, this kind of validates all the hard work we've done. But then there's still there's the Inc. 500, 5,000. There's all these other things that we're going to get on, knock on wood, we'll get on all those next year. We weren't eligible this year because you need, I think, 4 years of revenue.
I think you said something very important, is validation. Yeah. You know, you're doing the work, you know, you have a successful business, and this basically says, it's true.
Yeah. And the money's one thing. Like people get motivated by the money, but when you're around the money and the business and you start seeing larger dollar figures start coming into the accounts every day, the money's just a byproduct of the hard work. So if you're motivated that, oh, I want to make $1 million, like, what do I got to do to make $1 million? Like, okay, I can talk to 20 people and I can give them a pretty good pathway on what you got to do and how you got to hustle to get there. But what are you going to do after you get past that point? And that's where you look at these super, super successful entrepreneurs, where why are these multi-billionaires still working? It's because they're hungry and they want to be validated to a next level.
Absolutely. You talked about raising money as one of the biggest obstacles. How did you overcome that? How did you attack that?
So that was interesting. We were self-funded. We brought in a couple small investments. We had our first partners enter for, I think it was like a $25,000 investment super early on. They helped us with all of our marketing, our website. They exited this year for like $370,000 in one wire. And they held their equity for, I think, 14 months or something like that. So they got in, they helped us do a great job. They bought into the business. They believed in the business. We got them paid. They invested that into another venture. But when it comes to the capital, we didn't have to raise a whole lot because we kept on reinvesting our profits and reinvesting the revenue back into the business and keep growing and keep growing and keep growing until you get to a point where it's like, okay, we've reinvested a lot. Now it's time for us to make, a little bit. But once you get to a certain point, there's other ways to raise money, whether it's, SBA loans and there's small family offices and stuff like that. And we've been approached by a few family offices for 7 and 8 figure investments, and we've kind of turned them down because we don't really want any more people coming into the business.
Yes, you don't want to dilute your ownership after you're working that hard on it.
Okay, it's that time where anyone in the FEU class can come on up and ask a question. And this segment is powered by Celsius Beverage. So when you ask a question, you do get your choice of Celsius drinks. Okay, our first student is coming on up, Max.
Hi, this is Caleb. I just want to ask, based on what you just talked about with funding a business, if you can fund it yourself, would you do it? Or would you still take someone else's investment if they're offering it to you?
It always depends. I put my money out there first because I believe in the product. If I show the potential investors that I'm investing my own money first, then you may get a better or more favorable opportunity with them, because if it's only their money in the business mentally, and this is how I've seen it. So if I take, I'm gonna use John as an example again. John wants to give me $1 million. He's going to constantly remind me, you have no skin in the game. I have all the skin in the game. And those are like the real life conversations that a business owner and investors have with each other. So I would say, if you believe in your product, I would put your money where your mouth is and invest in your own product. Also, if you can raise money, I'd raise money, but always first, start with what you can.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You've been talking about how, the investor has kind of more of a say than you do in your business. So that's something I really appreciate you saying.
Yeah, you can't let the investors run your business.
Good afternoon. So I understand that you're a young entrepreneur and your business is growing pretty rapidly. I just want to know how you deal with like the expansion and like, I know you said you're predicted to almost double. How do you deal with that?
It's tough. When you start a business, I think everybody has the mindset, how do I become a millionaire? How do I become a billionaire? How do I get there? And when you first start, it's kind of easy. I mean, we have a plan, the start to scale to here, but what happens when, we're projected to scale to $1 million and we accidentally do 2 million and we're not built out to do 2. So I think it's always mentally having your scenarios in play when building the business and when scaling. Last night around 7:30, I had a call to go over all of our numbers. And, what happens if we spend this much on ad spend and we do this much in sales? And what happens if we, do 10 million this year or 12 million this year? Like, this is what the warehouse has to look like. This is how many balls we need from here. This is how many employees we need. And those are the conversations that have to happen. It's not, just close your eyes and pray that it happens. You have to prepare for it to happen, because when it does happen, you're ready. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have one more student coming up.
Hey, I'm Ashley.
Hey.
I just wanted to ask you, could you share like a strategy that you use to turn a setback into an opportunity of success or growth?
Yes. Yeah. I think we've been faced with a lot of setbacks that have actually turned into growth early on with the contracting and stuff like that. When we would bring golf courses in to get contracts, like I said, we didn't really know what we were doing. And we would end up with a couple contracts that, if everything goes right, they yield out to a couple $1 million a year. And there's a couple that we defaulted on early. And I took that as an opportunity to set up a meeting with those courses, those general managers, and tell them honestly exactly what happened and say, this is what happened. We weren't ready. We weren't prepared. We didn't actually think any of this was going to work. And I think if you have setbacks, you have to just be super honest with yourself. And if you're honest to yourself and you're honest to others, then only, I think, good can come out of that. But if you keep lying to yourself and you keep, making up lies to, the people that you're doing business with, your lies will come and bite you. So I think, if you do have a setback, you face your setback in the face and you face the adversity and you try and run with it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I love that point. Just being honest and transparent, because so often people think that they have to lie and say, sorry, the product didn't arrive on time, and make something up, versus just being brutally honest. Say, I'm human, this is what happened, and we're going to be there for you and fix it, over time.
Yeah. It's like, it's not my fault.
Straightforward.
Your package from Florida ended up in Hawaii. Like,
and sometimes you win more customers over.
100%.
Like we've seen so many businesses join the shrimp tank and literally, mess up, and then it turned into more opportunities, because then people, see the human element of it, and they're like, this is a great person.
Yeah.
Like, look what they did. And it could have been just like a simple, like, sorry, we screwed up, thank you card, right? And a $5 Starbucks card. A $5 Starbucks card goes such a long way.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to ask, knowing what you know now, if you had to start over, what would you more so like prioritize? Would it be marketing or employees?
So if I could start over, I actually had this conversation yesterday. If I could start over, I would have not scaled our marketing as fast as we scaled our marketing. We went from like $50 a day in ad spend to $2,800 a day in ad spend faster than we can blink and faster than we can handle. And we got caught up in the numbers, and we got caught up in, okay, cool, we're spending this, and we're doing, we're bringing in $12,000 a day, $13,000 a day. We're having big days, and our facility couldn't handle that. So I would prioritize the employees and the actual foundation of the business, and then ramp from there. We did the opposite, and that was a setback that we had, and we had to morph, and we had to look it, in the face and fix the operation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Let me ask you one more. In terms of connection to the community, how did that come about, and what is your what accomplishment in giving back to the community are you most proud of?
So Hope for Warriors is a golf foundation that we donated to this year. And we played in the golf tournament. We handed them a check, and it wasn't anything crazy. It was like a $6,000 or $7,000 check. But the look you get from the people in the charity, they're pretty much like in tears when you support them. And what may not seem like a lot to me can mean the world to somebody else, because that $6,000 or $7,000 is it's like a program for a warrior struggling with some sort of mental illness, or it's food for a family for a year. And it's just, you don't know what everybody's situation is when they're going through something. So I really like that part. To me, makes me happy, and that makes me feel like we've accomplished something.
Cool.
Okay, Roland, it's our final segment of the show. Students
Yeah.
were assigned a project, and they came up with a new segment idea that Roland's going to read off to you.
Well, we got a few things here. Let's see how this goes. You have 30 seconds, Jason, time.
Okay, I got the
30
timer.
seconds.
Okay.
List as many facts or details about the golf ball recovery process as possible. Examples might include type of equipment used or the most common challenges.
Okay.
We're going to start whenever you're ready.
Starts now. Go.
All right. So there's 3 types of ways to dive for golf balls. There's boat rollers, there's land rollers, and there's actually scuba divers going in. When diving for golf balls, you have to watch out for alligators, or else you're going to get your head eaten off and probably die. Snakes, snapping turtles, all that stuff. It's not fun. Getting the insurance to dive a lake is almost impossible. Somehow we did it. I don't know.
It's good.
Cleaning golf balls is a pain.
Bing, 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 bing,
Very
bing.
good.
30 seconds. He did great. That was like Family Feud, right? When they have the timer clock on that.
He
did great.
I feel like I'm on one of those talk shows. I have to drum up the crowd.
Well, you got to get those applause. I like it. I
Applause.
like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
applause. Okay. Here's another one. We'll just do one more. We'll skip the other one we were talking about earlier. Let's talk about Pitch Perfect Golf Ball Edition. A challenge where Max has to pitch new wacky business ideas using golf balls as the main product or theme. I'm going to give you a random off-the-wall business concept, and you have 30 seconds to pitch it. Golf ball with built-in camera.
Ready?
Yeah, go.
All right, so we have a new golf ball product here with a built-in camera. It's going to retail for $39.99. The whole goal of this is you can see exactly what your golf ball is doing, get better content for the golf creators, and it's great for people who want to get footage of live action video of the ball in the air.
And you know where you lost it, right?
Yeah,
so you can send you to get it when it's in the lake.
It doesn't have GPS.
Ah, okay. That's what that would be an expensive golf ball.
Yeah.
With GPS. Okay, how about I don't know if this is going to work. Golf balls that float
They make
rather
this.
than sink. Easier to retrieve than
Oh, yeah,
diving
good
to
ball.
get sunken balls.
They make them already for ranges, but I got one. So we have golf balls that float. These are really, really good for driving ranges, floating driving ranges, because if you have a driving range that is water, not grass, you hit these balls. What you do is then there's we have a contraption, like a boat and a net, and you raise the net, it sucks all the balls back, and you pull them in and filter them, and that's what you do.
Amazing.
He's doing quite well.
He's good. Okay, let me see. One more. Is that okay?
Go for
Host. Golf balls that glow in the dark for nighttime golf.
Yeah, so we have these new golf balls. They glow in the dark. They're great for member guest tournaments, bachelor parties, anything you're going to do to hit balls off balls at night. We use them for long drive contests. So if you have any sort of golf event at your golf course, we highly recommend buying these golf balls because it will make the member experience so much better.
Very good.
I'm going to do a live one, and this could get touchy.
Go for it.
I've had testicular cancer, and you brought that up as a subject where you're trying to get more nonprofits on board.
Yeah.
So I guess let's create a pitch right now of like, I'm the influencer, right? Pitch me why I should partner with that organization and partner with you, right? To that way get this mission, more out there about testicular cancer. And hopefully we get more people that have been through the struggles like I have to get support over telephone calls. So that way I can help others out, for example.
So our company's Ballz for Change Inc., right? Ballz is in our balls are balls. Everybody's got to, we're all adults here. Our customer is about 97% men. We ship out hundreds, if not thousands of packages, hundreds of packages a day, thousands of packages a week, all going to males. If we can put some sort of flyers with a QR code on inside of our packages to share the importance of checking yourself and not being embarrassed. How I compare this is the I Love Booby bracelets. When I was in middle school, that was like the biggest thing for breast cancer.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot about males with testicular cancer. And if you can make males more aware of it and catch it early, that can go a long way. And like I said, our audience is, our customer base is like 97% male. So it makes sense. And you can play with the balls and balls, buy your balls, check your balls.
Wow, that's
that was a good pitch.
Yeah,
look at that one clapping. You got standing
excellent. Absolutely. I'm surprised that wasn't the first charity you approached. That's
well, it's a touchy subject. You have to have guys that have the balls to even speak about it.
Yeah.
Logically, a lot of guys, you know, in my shoes would not go out on a microphone and say that. Like they just hush hush. They keep it private that they've been through that, of course.
Yeah.
Especially the younger. It happens more with younger adults versus older. I was on the older side. I'm 41 today. It happened when I was 39. Right. So I'm more open to speak about it. But someone that, you know, had that happen at 18, 21, you know, it could create depression, anxiety, things of that nature talking about it. So it just makes sense. Once you're further along, you don't give a crap.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Well, that wraps up today's episode. So Max, for everybody listening, if they want to reach out to you, what are the best routes? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Is it your company website?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram. I reply to everything. Even our business social media page, if anything is DM'd on there, it gets pushed to me from our social media managers. So
perfect. And he's also on our platform, Owl, that I'm the founder of. And you can speak to Max one-on-one. He will be our featured expert next week. So if you don't want to just DM him and you want to speak, just go ahead and download Owl and chat one-on-one with him.
And we hope Max and everyone in the audience will join us on Thursday, April 3rd at 1 p.m. for the Florida Atlantic Adams Center for Entrepreneurship Business Pitch Competition over in the Executive Education Center, 1 o'clock to 4:30. And then there's an awards ceremony on April 16th over at the Tech Runway. And there are plenty of ways to find out about that. Just get on the Adams Center for Entrepreneurship website and get the QR code and sign on up.
Okay. Max, thanks for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday right around 1 o'clock. Take care, everybody.